Austen Lane here for ESPN 690, joined by, really a voice that everybody should know by this point if you are a professional wrestling fan. And let's be honest, I would give this guy a great intro. I would give him a Bruce Buffer type of introduction, but even then he would say that it probably sucks. So I'm just going to say I'm happy to be joined by MJF, aka
Smart move,
Maxwell,
Austin.
Friedman.
Smart move.
How are we doing?
I'm great. Let me just do it for myself. Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you are deaf, dumb, blind, poor, or, stupid, it is what it is. Let's just face the facts here. You're listening to a show called what? ESPN 6090? What was it?
690, yeah.
Oh,
yes.
My bad, Austin. My bad. No, man, I'm excited to be on the show and talk to your type of listeners, if you catch my drift, and try to help them a little bit. Take their hand, help them around a little bit.
Well, it's great to have you back on the show. We actually we had you in the studio. This is probably about a year and a half ago now.
I remember it was like in a broom closet. It was very dingy.
Pretty much. Yeah. We don't really have all the accoutrements as like the standard ESPN does. But I remember it was December 31st, 2019, right before the new year. And as you were exiting the interview, you told me three things. You're going to be the number one contender for the AEW championship. You're going to become world champion, and you're going to defeat Cody Rhodes. Now, you accomplished two of those three things. If this was baseball, it would be a great day. If this was basketball, that'd be a pretty good field goal percentage. But you went 2 for 3 in your predictions. Yeah. Are you satisfied with that result? Are you happy with that result? What do you think?
I'll tell you why I'm not completely dissatisfied, because they call me Mystic Max. I don't know if you know that, Austin. Everything I say completely happens 10 times out of 10. Here was the problem, though. I don't care how much destiny wants something to happen for you, which, trust me, God wants me to be AEW world champion, and you can quote me on that. The issue at hand is it was out of my hands because I was in the ring with somebody who decided to cheat. I'm referring to dictator Jon Moxley. He decided to use a maneuver he was not legally allowed to use, and that is how he defeated me. Let's be honest, Austin. I was whooping that guy's ass. He didn't have a prayer, okay? Not in the world. He didn't have a chance, a blow in the wind. I was going to be AEW world champion, and then he cheated, which is something absolutely disgusting and disgraceful and something I would never personally do. Once you're in that ring, it's a matter of pride and respect, and you're supposed to respect everybody else who went into that ring before you. And to cheat the way that John did in order to secure his title, it's something that nobody should stand for. And that's when I genuinely realized, I had an epiphany. I said, okay, all these people are going to try to cheat me out of my destiny. They're going to try to cheat me out of my world championship. And the only way to ensure that that doesn't happen is if I surround myself with other men who can protect me, who can help me, brothers in arms. And that is why I started the Pinnacle.
Well, and you mentioned the Pinnacle, okay? And we were talking about FTR. We're talking about Cash Wheeler, Dax Harwood, Sean Spears, Wardlow. And we're talking about you being at the forefront of that. Now, once again, with all due respect to your age, but you're only 25 years old. And you're essentially the appointed leader, the captain, if you will, of a bunch of guys who are, number one, are super talented, some which are just household names from, a couple years ago. And you're at the forefront with these guys. Do you feel like, from your perspective, is it a lot of weight to carry right now? Is there a lot of pressure on you to be the voice, number one, but also to be the leader of this collective group of guys known as the Pinnacle?
For somebody else, it might be, but I'm a prodigy, bud. That's why age has nothing to do with it. I was literally born to do this. That is why I was placed on this planet. I was placed on this planet to be a top guy, not just in professional wrestling, but universally. Okay. At this point, if you're walking around down the street and you see somebody in a Burberry scarf, there's only one person you think of, and it's MJF. I am a star. I've been a star since day one. And people always want to bring up the age thing. I got very frustrated when Chris Jericho decided to say, I'm great for 25. That's bullshit. I'm great, period. There is nobody in the history of my profession. And that's a fact. Look back into the annals of time of professional wrestling. There is nobody in the history of my profession who has risen to the top as quickly as I have at such a young age, in spite of that. If I was 32, people would still be saying, I'm incredible. This guy's great. He's the top of the heap. But only because I'm 25 Now people have a crutch to try to attack. Oh, he's incredible, but, and that's fine. What people don't seem to realize is I'm already the best in professional wrestling. At 25, I absolutely smoked Chris Jericho, both on the microphone and in the ring. I've beaten this guy already, and he's supposed to be the greatest of all time, which means by the time I'm Chris Jericho's age, holy shit. Can you people even fathom how good I'm going to be? The answer is you can't, because it's never been seen before.
It is pretty impressive for your age, what you've been able to accomplish so far. And you've mentioned it. When you moved to the Pinnacle and you started that branch, that put you on a collision course with Chris Jericho. Now, Chris Jericho, I don't need to tell you his background and all his accolades and what he's meant to the sport of wrestling. But we've also seen this story play out before. We've seen the veteran versus the future. We've seen the student essentially versus the teacher. And when we talk about the teacher being Chris Jericho, like, this guy still has a lot to give to the business, not only in the ring, but out of the ring as well. You know, he's far from being on the twilight of his career, I feel like. So with that being said, like I've said, we've seen this story play out before. And it's played out in professional sports. It's played out in movies and video games and anime, you name it. This story has always played out. And it plays out with the student, being you, being humbled, learning a lesson, taking a loss, and getting up and having to move on. Are you worried that that could happen to you?
Austen, I'd be worried if I was like any of those people you just painted, all of these students. Yes, I am a student of the game, but I'm also already a master. And that is the difference between me and every single other previous story that feels like MJF versus Chris Jericho. And I feel for those guys because they weren't ready. They thought they were. They were arrogant enough to think so. But here's the deal, Austen. I've already pinned Chris Jericho smack dab in the middle of the ring. I've already gotten his number. Okay? It's done. It's over with. Here's what I feel bad about, though. Just like everyone else listening to this interview, I am a huge Chris Jericho fan. Not a fan of the person. We don't need to go there. But I'm a fan of Chris Jericho, the professional wrestler. And it's going to be just as painful, trust me, as it is for you when at Blood and Guts, I give this man an early retirement. It is not something I'm proud of. It is not something I'm ecstatic about. But at the end of the day, it's something that I completely understand has to happen because he is at the top of the mountain in AEW. And that's the spot I want. And I'm going to take it.
When we talk about Blood and Guts, obviously just a few weeks away now. And leading up to that tonight, AEW Dynamite, we talk about the parlay. And essentially it's the Inner Circle taking on the Pinnacle face to face. And now keep in mind face to face. This coming from Santana, who he had some choice words to say about you guys and your tactics. I think he referred to you guys as using bitch moves, if I'm not mistaken. But now we're going face to face tonight. And it's a cool setup because you guys are essentially, hopefully, going to talk out the stipulations of Blood and Guts coming up. Now, it's ironic because the last time I've talked to you, MJF, you had I tried to get the stipulations of you and allowing Cody to have that championship match with you, or I'm not sorry, not the championship match, but the other match with you and Cody Rhodes. And it came down to you beating him senseless with a belt. Well, now we find ourselves with another stipulation. Have you been thinking about it? Do you know what you want to do? Does the Pinnacle know where they want to go with this? And do you think you will achieve the results of that?
To me, the Pinnacle is all about respecting the men and women that came before us. I think that's what makes us special. In no uncertain terms, you can call us a throwback, if you will. To me, Blood and Guts was created by Cody Rhodes' father, Dusty Rhodes, right? One of the greatest of all time. And while this is going to be our iteration of it, I'm sure there will be small tweaks, small changes. Personally, I would like it to be the original rules. That would make me happy. I am so sick and tired of us trying to redefine the past by entirely making it our own. Why? An old saying, what is the word I'm looking for here? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And
Sure.
that is how I feel about the rules of Blood and Guts. And I am very much so looking forward to getting inside of that steel cage.
when we talk about the past a little bit, it seems, you being the quote unquote new school guy, the future, all these adjectives, the past has come back to AEW a little bit. Since the last time we talked, AEW, they brought on Sting. They brought on Christian Cage. And these guys are legends. They're staples of wrestling. And most importantly, they're household names. What does someone like you, who is the up and coming star, who is the future, who is the talent, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like it's almost like an insult because, they're maybe focusing more on the past of bringing these guys back? Or do you embrace it and do you celebrate it because it's guys that you can learn from?
I don't think it's an insult in the sense that these guys, they get to go out there, they get their adrenaline rush, they get to feel young again. They get to feel like MJF feels right now. And that's awesome for them. I'm so proud of them. I'm ecstatic that they get to feel that way. As long as they stay out of my way, we're cool. I don't have a problem with Sting unless he gets in my way. I do not have a problem with Christian unless he gets in my way. I'm already perturbed with the fact that he claims that he wants a title shot in my company. I think that's a little odd. You just got here, bud. It is what it is. But I'll say this. He's getting wins. He's gaining momentum against guys like Will Hobbs. And it's definitely impressive. I'm definitely happy for him. Hooray, Christian Cage is back. Just stay out of my way, bud, and we're cool. That's all.
Man, I got 3 more questions for you, then we're going to let you go. Last time I talked to you, Wardlow, all right? And I brought him up, and I'll admit to you first and foremost. And I don't do this to lots of people, but I'll admit it. He is stuck by you. I figured he would branch off and eventually do his own thing because you'd be kind of sick and tired of your tactics, sick and tired of the insults, all that stuff, having to make him wear a Burberry scar or a tie all the time, all that stuff. But he's stuck by you, tried and true. And when you guys cut that promo last Wednesday, and we heard him speak and essentially just call out Chris Jericho man to man, face to face, looked right in the camera. I got goosebumps from it. Can you talk about just what the friendship and what just the guy having your back in terms of Wardlow has meant to your career so far, and now what it means to the Pinnacle as well?
Wardlow's not just a friend, he's a student of mine, and I think that was made very clear when you heard him speak last week. He's learning underneath me, and I'm glad to give him my wealth of knowledge because this is a guy who I know I can trust in the trenches. I know a lot of people would love to see us split up. It's never going to happen, and I'll tell you why. It's not just because of our friendship. It's not just because he gets to sit under my learning tree, but it's because I pay him, and I pay him very well. And he has a mom in Ohio that needs a roof kept over her head. He needs a roof kept over his head. He needs food put in his mouth. And trust me, it takes a lot of money to feed that guy. He's massive, okay? So he is more than happy being under the MJF umbrella, and I'm more than happy to have him there. He is the best bodyguard money can buy, and he is an absolute behemoth monster of a man. And I couldn't be happier to have him by my side, man. And that's the thing. I know so many people would love for him to turn on me because let's face it, I got a lot of haters. Okay? Absolutely. And I know I do. I'm no fool. And I know why people hate on me. It's because they're jealous. All right? But Wardlow doesn't have that jealousy because he knows that I'm taking him to the promised land. He knows that.
You mentioned the people, right? And obviously we see it online. We hear it in the crowds when they're booing you. And AEW, with this pandemic kind of being on the backside now, they're getting ready to go on the road eventually. From your perspective, how do you feel about going back on the road, right?
Because, I'm already upset. Can I explain something to you? This has been the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. I don't have to look at all these disgusting pig-faced schmucks. I don't have to smell them. I don't have to hear them. It's incredible. It's great for my senses. It's almost like all my senses get a rest. And now here we go. I'm going to have to go on the road and I'm going to have to see all of these people again. And I'm not looking forward to it, man. I'm not looking forward to it at all. If it was up to me, we'd never have a crowd. Okay. But you got guys like we were talking about earlier, the Christian Cages of the world, the Stings of the world. They want to feel, like big boys again. So whatever, we'll throw them a bone. All I'm saying is, guys, and I really want you to listen to this carefully. This is not a joke. Don't come near me. Don't ask for an autograph. Don't ask for a photo. If you thought I was bad before, you have no inkling of a clue. how bad it's going to be now. Just stay away from me. And if you even have a thought like, oh, maybe he's in a good mood today, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. Stay far away. Thank you.
All right, man. Well, one last question, then I'm going to let you go here. We've talked about this a lot in this conversation, and I mentioned a couple times, and heck, I've even said it myself. You know, you're the next big thing. You're the future, yada, yada, yada. You know, if we compare you to other athletes in professional sports, like Patrick Mahomes was labeled the next big thing. Giannis Antetokounmpo in the NBA, you know, he was quoted as saying he's going to be the future. Well, he's won back-to-back MVPs. Patrick Mahomes won an MVP, and he's won a Super Bowl. So do you get, like, I guess, do you take it personally when we always talk about the future and people aren't living in the now? Like, should we start to talk about, hey, who is MJF right now?
Yeah,
and
people can only be, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and when can we stop the whole moniker of this guy's the future, this guy's going to be great someday? What do you have to do to change that perception of wrestling fans on social media? And I guess with your peers as well, because your peers talk about all the time being the same thing.
Yeah. You know, so here's my deal. It's starting to become MJF is the now. And I think it took me looking into the barrel of the camera last week and saying, I'm not great for my age. I'm great, period. And I think that opened a lot of eyes because that's what we do as human beings. We can't help but put labels on things. We just can't help it. Even though I've already been on the New York Times best performer list, even though I'm a back-to-back Dynamite Diamond Ring champion, even though I'm undefeated, even though I get the highest ratings in the key demo every single time I step through our curtain, people still are going to say, this guy's the future. Hell, I'm sure when I win that AEW world title, people are going to say, this guy's the future. And guess what? They're not entirely wrong. I'm going to be the now for their foreseeable future for a very long time. I'm going to be in the forefront of AEW, just like I already am right now, for a very long time. So they're not entirely off base.
I think that's a good way to end the interview, MJF. I appreciate you taking some time talking to us today. Thanks for not calling me an asshole for once in one of our interviews. I appreciate that a lot. And hopefully we'll see you down the road.
Well, for once you had some decorum, Austen. And for the love of God, find a new space. It's horrible in there. It's just absolutely horrible.
I'll see what I can do for next time, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, asshole. Bye.